Good morning and happy Saturday, April the 4th. Just wanted to share with you a phone call that I had with a general manager yesterday. He reached out to me because he was struggling and making a decision. Their state had just recently gone into a stay-at-home order, and things had really slowed down at the dealership, and so he was wondering whether he should be furloughing some of his people. And during these stressful, fearful, uncertain times, it's so easy to be reactive. And this is not a time for reaction. This is a time for contemplative responses that consider the factors and make good decisions through it all. But when we're by ourselves, that's sometimes hard to do. And so I appreciate him reaching out and just asking for some perspective. Because certainly I can't make the decision for him or for you, but hopefully I can provide some perspective so that you can make the best decision possible. Here's a couple thoughts as he's thinking about furloughing his people. Certainly the government is making available unprecedented funds to be able to help small businesses like dealerships to be able to retain their staff. And so consider the fact that right now, this is not a time for self-preservation. And when I say self, I don't just mean us as individuals, I mean also our dealerships. And I know that sounds crazy to say what you want to put our dealerships at risk. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is consider the factors, because this is a short-term blip in a long-term scenario. And we really have to consider the impact of our message. Every statement we make, every action we take is a communication to our people and to others as to what we really believe and how we really operate. And so it's not just a matter of, do I furlough my people or do I not? It's a matter of how do I convey a message of care and you know, how am I going to operate when things happen? Am I going to consider them? And so here's a couple thoughts. One of the things I shared, and this is going to sound extreme, but I said we certainly wouldn't furlough our family. When our family's in need, we're going to rally around them. And I encouraged him to pull together his leadership team and have a conversation around who we are as a store and how we're going to weather this together, because there are stores that have come up with some great creative ways that allow them to retain their staff. It doesn't mean that everybody stays at 100% of their past incomes. Some stores have been able to reduce their salaries by 17 or 18% across the board and be able to retain everybody. But the cool thing about that is it sends a message is that we care about all of you and we're all willing to take a little bit of a hit so that individuals don't have to take a huge hit all by themselves. Also consider the fact that when we come through this, and rest assured we will come through this, we want to be ready to attack the rebound. And if we furlough our people, there's a huge risk that they're going to find other places to go. Another store I talked to said they're getting an incredible number of people approaching them saying, you're still open and we've been laid off by our store and we'd love to come work for you. And so there's a huge risk that we're going to lose some great people if we too easily just cast them aside. And I know that sounds harsh, and that's not your intent to cast people aside, but that is certainly what could be their perception during this time of need. But here's the thing. Certainly, I would say look at getting some of these government funds to be able to help you. Try to retain your people if at all possible, and not just have them sitting around. I think this is a tremendous opportunity to work on our dealership. There's lots of organizing, lots of cleanup, lots of refreshing things that we can do as a team that says, hey, we are a team, we're working through this together, and we're going to make the best of it. Think about fire halls and military and different people like that who during the quiet times are taking care of their place of business. Fire halls are some of the cleanest, most organized places. And it's because they don't just sit around when there's not a fire. They're constantly working at cleaning things up and making sure things are ready for when they do need to go out and fight the next fire. I also leave you with this thought from Chick-fil-A. When they shut down a store after about 5 years to renovate, and it usually takes about 5 months to do the renovation, they've got a policy that they don't lay off anybody. They pay everybody for 5 months. Throughout that entire ordeal, because they not only want to communicate that they care about their people, but they want to make sure that when their people, when they're ready to go back to work and the store is ready to reopen, that they have a full team that is not only energized and ready to go, but is aligned with the store. So think about your mission. What is your mission statement? This is a time to lead. This is a time to lead through a crisis. This is not a time to look at how do we look after ourselves. So I hope that is some perspective and maybe even some encouragement, some food for thought. Don't hesitate to reach out if you want to discuss this further, but certainly know that I'm thinking about you. I care about you. I'm praying for you, and we will get through this. Have a great Saturday.